everyone. I'm Robin Hattersley, Editor-in-Chief of Campus Safety. Welcome to the show. When a tragedy happens at a school that involves a student, very often after the fact, it comes to light that there were many behaviors exhibited by the student that were witnessed by several individuals indicating the student was in trouble. However, there was no mechanism in place at the school to combine all of that information so that campus or district personnel could get an accurate picture of the severity of the student situation. To address this challenge, Raptor Technologies has developed StudentSafe. It's a user-friendly way for teachers, counselors, custodians, bus drivers, public safety officers, administrators, and other school staff members to report low-level concerning student behavior that by themselves might not raise red flags. But if there are several of these behaviors, it could indicate a student situation is escalating into something more serious. StudentSafe is a software platform that combines reports about concerning behavior from various school personnel to develop an accurate picture of what's going on with a student. With all this information, a school can intervene proactively to get the student the help he or she needs and prevent a more serious issue down the road. If the behaviors are serious enough to meet a certain threshold, the platform also enables the school to conduct a behavioral threat assessment to take even further steps. To tell us more about StudentSafe, I interviewed Raptor product manager Will Durgin. Prior to Raptor, Will spent a decade in Florida schools where he recently supervised the implementation of threat assessment models for the Palm Beach County School District. Before that, he was a teacher, coach, and principal, so he knows a lot about K-12 campuses and school districts. In our interview, Will discusses how schools can more effectively connect the dots and prevent security and safety incidents. So with that, here's my interview with Will Durgin. Enjoy the show. Great, and can you provide me with some background information on you before you got into Raptor?
Yeah, absolutely, Robin. So I've been with Raptor since November of 2021, but for the decade prior to that, I was a proud employee of the School District of Palm Beach County. Wore a variety of hats in those 10 years, starting out as a high school history teacher, baseball and wrestling coach, making my way up the administrative ranks to a school administrator, continued my career into district administration, where I did a variety of roles, culminating with the responsibility of being the district threat assessment manager, where I was in charge of implementing all things threat assessment throughout the school district of Palm Beach County.
Great, so you know what you're talking about.
I'd like to think so. Yes, ma'am.
Let's go into what are the challenges schools face in identifying students exhibiting concerning behavior?
The first is simply that in itself, identifying the concerning behavior. What makes that especially difficult is that seldomly does a singular individual see all of the behaviors of that student. They may just see one or two. And in isolation, it may be concerning, but not screaming out for intervention. For instance, you have a teacher who notices a student's drop in grades and now they're, disinterested in a subject, which is not typical for them. You have a counselor who's noticing they've had a few peer conflicts this week alone. Again, not the norm. Their athletic coach notices that they've had a short temper and been going off on some of their teammates. And also the bus driver has noticed the student has been anxious in the morning, sullen in the afternoon. They're typically upbeat people. So in isolation, each of them in itself may be concerning, but again, not screaming out for interventions. But if you put all those together, I like to think that your average school administrator, counselor, school staff would be rushing to the student, providing some kind of intervention, even if it's a hand on the shoulder saying, hey, how's it going today? And again, what makes that difficult is rarely do you have the teacher, counselor, coach, and bus driver all communicating together. Those silos of information make this very difficult. And again, when those behaviors go unreported, or they're simply just jotted down in a notebook, it's not doing a lot of help to keep everybody on the same page. And that, in my estimation, is one of the more difficult challenges with getting those concerning behaviors identified.
So what happens when a student's behavioral concerns escalate to a threat of violence?
We would like to avoid that threat of violence. But when that doesn't occur, a lot of things are happening. For instance, a lot of schools and districts will utilize a school threat assessment team. And at that point, they're mobilized and they're investigating the threat. They're looking to provide safeguards for all of the individuals that are involved, while also determining the seriousness of the threat and what's the best course of action moving forward, and how can we provide appropriate interventions. Having said that, that's taking out a lot of manpower, a lot of time from those staff. that student could also possibly face some kind of disciplinary consequence, maybe a suspension or even an expulsion. Ideally, what we'd like to do is be preventative, work prior to that threat, which is why those concerning behaviors that are almost present in every scenario are where is the ideal opportunity to intervene and provide some interventions when the situation is more manageable and is less extraneous.
So how are you able to bring everybody together to connect the dots?
Before you connect the dots, you need to collect the dots. And oftentimes those low-level concerns are those dots that we're looking to connect, where again, ideally, we're going to intervene early prior to a threat of violence, and that's the idyllic state. But when that doesn't happen, we want to be able to have the actual methodologies, the threat assessment process, procedures, and flows that go along with that information. We need to make sure the information is in the right people's hands. As I said before, sitting on a notebook on a desk doesn't do a whole lot of good. So if we can have a system, a platform that's going to work collaboratively, bring these multidisciplinary team members together and allow them to work in a central hub, that is going to be the best way of connecting those dots. And then furthermore, getting those dots in alignment so we can do what the goal of this is, which is providing interventions to students, getting them off the pathway to violence so they're productive students ready to graduate and continue on their merry way.
So how can Raptor help with this?
So essentially, we were looking to answer those first couple of questions. How can we assist schools cataloging concerning behaviors in a way that's easy and efficient? Can we get that into the right hands, breaking down those silos, while also being able to protect information through robust permissions? Can we structure it in a way that's going to help paint the picture of what's going on with the student and providing a platform to address it going forward? When a threat assessment is necessary, can we follow those leading methodologies and help schools conduct and manage those threat assessments? And with those parameters in mind, we were looking to design this product, StudentSafe. And I'm happy to say that StudentSafe is a tool that can be used to help those schools addressing those very issues.
And what are the situations where this product can be used?
That's a great question, Robin. And that's a great thing about StudentSafe. Schools and districts have so much control. It doesn't require you to wait until the actual threat of violence has been made or posed for you to intervene. Like I said before, that's the tip of the iceberg. It can certainly be used in those instances and will follow the methodologies that district uses. But what again is really neat is this allows for all of those other important concerning behaviors to be addressed and handled before they become extraneous. Again, early prevention is beneficial for all parties involved.
Thank you, Will.
Thank you so much, Robin. It's been a pleasure.